It is a new year, which means it's 2025, which also means Stranger Things 5 releases this year. Maybe it releases in July, probably November, but either way, within the next year, Stranger Things Season 5 will release. So with that, a lot of Stranger Things content is going to be pumped out on this channel, and the first video of the new year is characters most likely to die in Stranger Things 5. For this video, I picked out 4 different characters, pretty much main characters. All 4 of them have been in every single season of Stranger Things 5 or Stranger Things, so that's something to consider. And I'm gonna go over each and every reason why I think they could die in season 5, why it makes sense, why it could make sense, why it could not make sense. And yeah, without further ado, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, turn on notifications, join my Discord where we have over 1,200 members and we talk Stranger Things 5 every single day. And let's get right into the video. The first character I wanted to talk about is Jonathan Byers. Jonathan Byers is a very interesting character because I feel like throughout all 4 seasons so far, he's put his family first before himself, and recently his character's gone through this weird stage where it feels like he doesn't know his purpose and he's having a hard time seeing what he should do for his future. And even though season 4 ended with him and Nancy holding hands, it still seems like that relationship still has a lot of turmoil to go through. And like I said, recently he's been putting his family first, and even in season 1, he put Will first. Obviously, I mean, it's his little brother, but even throughout season 2, like he was bringing Will to the Halloween party and he said, don't worry about it. And all this stuff, like Jonathan put his family first, and now he's struggling to find a purpose. I feel like in season 5, it isn't crazy to say that maybe his purpose, he's gonna realize, is saving others, helping others, making sure his family's okay, Nancy's okay, and everyone else is okay. He doesn't really, maybe he's gonna get to the point where he's okay with sacrificing himself if everyone else that he cares about is going to be okay. And I feel like Jonathan's definitely a character who could die in like episode 6 of the 8 episodes in season 5, to where that would make them want to fight even harder the last 2 episodes to beat the final boss, because they lost someone. It's a heartbreaking loss. Everyone's devastated, and now they're like, let's do it for Jonathan, and then they fight the last 2 episodes like that much harder. Like the impact on Jonathan's death, I feel like could be much more impactful if it was before the final episodes. That way they had that motivation going into fighting the big bad. And if for some reason Nancy and Steve end up together, which I do not think is gonna happen, it would make sense to kill off Jonathan if the Duffers wanted to go in that direction with Steve and Nancy and not Jonathan and Nancy, to kill off the one, the one oddball in the love triangle. Either way though, I do think there's a decent chance that Jonathan Byers dies in season 5. I would say around a 25 to 30% chance that Jonathan dies. Steve is also a possibility, so is Nancy. Anybody in that love triangle, I feel like is not 100% okay. Now moving on to the next character. This character isn't necessarily a main character, but she's been in every single season, and I feel like a lot of people have had a lot of theories about her, so it sort of feels like she's the main character, even though she doesn't even have like that much screen time. But Karen Wheeler, I feel like could be a candidate to die in season 5 for a multitude of reasons, but mainly just because of how hyped she's been around the Stranger Things community with all the theories of her and Vecna and all this stuff. Like, I feel like Duffers probably realized there's a lot of hype around this character. Maybe we make her impact, or maybe we make her role a little bit bigger in season 5 and then end up killing her off. And I feel like that's like pretty predictable, but I definitely could see it happening, and here's why. Karen has been largely an underdeveloped character, which could make her a prime candidate for a shocking death. The writers might choose to use her character as a way to raise the stakes without taking away a main character like Mike or Nancy. And if Karen gets taken away, then that makes Mike and Nancy that much more pressured to keep the rest of their family safe. And like we said, like we've theorized, I've already theorized that Holly Wheeler is going to be in danger. It is not that far-fetched to think that Karen Wheeler would put herself in harm's way to save Holly Wheeler. If episode 2 is actually the vanishing of, or episode 1, whatever it is, if the episode where it's titled The Vanishing of Blank Wheeler, if that's the vanishing of Holly Wheeler, I would not be too shocked to see Karen die in that episode or the following episode, sacrificing her life for her youngest daughter. And since she served as like one of the mothers of the show, like along with Joyce, it could serve as like such a devastating death that like it's a breaking point for some characters. It's a breaking point for Mike, where he decides to take more of a role, use that brain like he used it in season 1. I feel like we've seen Mike slowly digress as far as his impact and his thinking and his smarts. Like in season 1, he was the smart genius coming up with all these ideas, and in season 4, it seems like he was just involved in all this drama and he wasn't really, offering up that much. If his mother died, that could potentially be a breaking point for Mike to where he's like, oh my god, okay, I need to activate and we need to get this, we need to get this show on the road. But other than all of those reasons, simply because Karen is a side character, it would be an easy kill off. She's most likely going to die, in my opinion, or at least be in a lot of danger. Another character who I think is almost guaranteed to die is Murray Bauman. I think we all feel the same sort of way about Murray Bauman. We all feel that he could die just because he's that side comedic character who's already been in so much danger, and he's always scared of this, scared of that. But then in season 4, he had like this breaking point where he just got out a flamethrower and just started flamethrowing a Demogorgon. Like maybe one of these times he's just going to be so unhinged that he's so tired of fighting all these monsters and everything that he's just going to reach that breaking point and sacrifice himself in a comedic way. Like Murray Bauman is the perfect character to have that comedic heroism and for his death, like to have a comedic death in some sort of way where he's like, I don't even know how to explain it, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like Murray's that type of character to have that death where he's just, I don't know, it's almost like a funny but heartbreaking death at the same time, and it can't be that funny because it's gonna be Stranger Things 5, it's gonna be like horrifying. But if we're gonna have some sort of funny death or comedic death whatsoever, Murray Bauman is going to be the character to die without a doubt. And I feel like the best way for Murray Bauman to die in season 5 would be to protect Joyce and Hopper. Like what if Joyce and Hopper were in a situation to where they were literally facing death with a monster? I don't know what monster it would be, but maybe they have like, I don't know, whatever they have. And then Murray just steps in front of them and says some heroic words and then just goes and sacrifices himself. And then like Joyce is screaming, Hopper, drags her away and they go and find safety. Like I feel like that's how Murray could die, saving his 2 best friends in the whole wide world, because he doesn't really have many friends. They're pretty much his only friends. So what if he just saves Hopper and Joyce and make sure they live happily ever after because Hopper sacrificed so much, Joyce has sacrificed so much, maybe Murray's gonna look in the mirror and be like, it's my time to go. And there's also a narrative aspect to killing off Murray Bauman, because killing off a character like Murray would tug at viewers' heartstrings while avoiding the loss of a central character. His death would still carry emotional weight without derailing the core's group dynamics. Murray is still a character that's been in every single season, but instead of killing off someone like Dustin or one of the kids, you could kill off Murray, who's not in a relationship with anyone, doesn't have any family, is sort of just this outside community character, but still has somewhat of an impact, and give us that feeling of losing like a important character, but also actually getting a death, so the stakes are actually high. And like I said earlier, his involvement in the Russian storyline already showed his willingness to put himself in life-threatening situations. Stranger Things 5 could build on that and bring his character arc to a heroic conclusion. And like I said earlier, out of everyone on this list, I think Murray Bauman is most likely to bite the dust. Unfortunately for Murray, and I'm pretty excited to see how that's going to turn out, to be honest with you. I'm not excited for Murray to die or anything, but to see how the death is orchestrated and everything. The Duffers are geniuses, and the production value has been so good throughout these 4 seasons. The 5th one's just gonna be that much better. I cannot wait to see it. And last but not least, certainly not least, honestly the most least one on the entire list, 11. Now I'm not saying 11's going to die, but I am saying out of the main kids, and when I say the main kids, I'm talking about the 5 kids and 11, or the 4 kids and 11, 11's most likely to die. And here's why. 11 has always been the center of Stranger Things, obviously, but her connection to the Upside Down and to Vecna may ultimately make her the only one who can end the chaos. As the person most connected to Vecna / the Mind Flayer / literally the Upside Down, 11 might have to give her life to destroy Vecna and to seal the Upside Down permanently. We've talked about this before, but it does make a lot of sense. And her death would be both symbolic and impactful. Obviously, I do not want 11 to die, but if she did die, it would break the internet, it would be #1 trending in the entire world, and people would be devastated, but it would give us that feeling of, oh my god, there were stakes on the line the entire time. The hero of the show, the superhuman of the show, ended up dying. And I feel like it is too predictable to do it. That's why I don't think it's gonna happen, but I do think it's still possible, because even if it's too predictable, it might be the only way for them to end this story. Like, maybe they had this written from the beginning. I don't know. Also, I do not think Millie Bobby Brown wants to do any spin-offs whatsoever. I don't think she wants to be remembered as 11. I don't think she enjoys being recognized as 11 from Stranger Things. I think she wants to create her own her other characters, and she wants to be known as Millie Bobby Brown, which unfortunately is never going to work for her because 11's most probably going to be the most popular character she's ever going to play ever again. And I hope for her sake that's not the case, but history tells us that's going to be the case. I think she's going to want nothing to do with Stranger Things after Stranger Things 5 is done because she wants to be known as Millie Bobby Brown. Because of that, I could see her like wanting to die at the end of the season, at the end of the show, because like she doesn't want to be brought back in spin-offs like all the other characters. She wants to move on and do her own thing, which is fine. But I definitely could see that being the scenario with 11. Maybe Millie Bobby Brown stepped in and said, hey, can we just kill off 11 so I don't have to return as 11 and I can go and to be all the other characters I want to be. I feel like that part was pretty obvious, but I decided to put that in. And other reason she could die is the parallels to Hopper's death in season 3. The show loves dramatic sacrifices like Hopper in season 3, even though he survived. 11's death would echo this, but on a grander scale, as her loss would have irreversible consequences. And the final reason, which is definitely the most obvious reason, but obviously we have to say it, is the chosen one trope. Obviously, 11 is the hero of the story. Her fate might follow the classic Chosen One narrative, where the savior must pay the ultimate price to save the world. Because think about it, if she gets in a scenario where someone has to fight Vecna one-on-one, it's not going to be Hopper, it's not going to be Joyce, it's not going to be the kids, it's not going to be any of the regular humans, it's going to be the superhuman. So she's going to be in the most danger most of the time of season 5. Unless Will somehow has powers, then that's a whole different story, or like Max or something. But if there's going to be a scenario where Vecna is going to fight one person one-on-one, it's going to be the superhuman. And because of that, 11's going to be in a lot of danger. And because of that, her odds of dying are much more higher. And that's pretty much it, guys. Characters most likely to die in Stranger Things 5: Jonathan Byers, Karen Wheeler, Murray Bauman, and 11. Obviously, there could be other characters who will probably die, but those are the 4 that I decided to talk about today. If you guys have any other video suggestions that you guys want me to make, or any theories you want me to react to or make a video on, let me know in the comments. And of course, join my Discord down below where you can talk to me and suggest video ideas in there, or ask me any questions about Stranger Things any part of any day. I appreciate you guys watching. Make sure to drop a like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.